Where did you come up with this idea? I mean, I gotta say, because when they told me that you were gonna be here, I looked it up. It's number 7 on the 10 Commandments, man. I mean, how did you come up with this idea?
You know, I think I was betting on the darker side of online dating. My hunch as an entrepreneur was that the infidelity economy, from a global perspective, might be larger than the singles dating economy. That there's more people who are already in relationships of significance, but maybe want to do something on the side than people who wanted to get married. And so that's the thesis anyways. That's what we were betting on. And it turns out that, 18 million members later, we were probably right.
Amanda, what was your reaction when you found out that this was what he wanted to do?
Well, at first, I wanted to make sure it wasn't about me, that he wasn't having a midlife crisis. But there was a sound objective, and the strategy was there, and it was quite surprising, and it's hard to understand at first. But there was a business to be had. 18
million people,
yeah.
Right? Hey, Noel, explain the business model, because it's slightly different than a subscription-based online service. It has to do with something called getting credits. How does that work?
You know, a traditional dating site tends to function this way. You sign up, you give it about 3 months. You either find someone or the site's broken because it couldn't help you find the love of your life. Affairs don't tend to work that way. You know, the busiest day on our service, week in, week out, is a Monday morning. It has nothing to do with our Sunday night advertising campaigns. It has to do with expectation not being met. And so what we found is a very transient behavior pattern. People come the day after Father's Day, the day after New Year's, on their 39th birthday. And so what we wanted to do is give people a place to come and go at their leisure. So yes, it's a credit model that allows them to kind of pay as they play, so to speak.
Pay as you play. As far as the actual technology is concerned, where do you keep all these computers? How do you keep it all running?
Yeah, dramatically different, right? Like when we looked at it, the perfect affair had 2 critical components: meeting someone and not being discovered. And so everything we did from day one was working on this discretionary model, signing up anonymously, not billing you under Ashley Madison. That would become something that your partner could detect. The ability not just to delete your profile, but to pull back any messaging you sent to anybody else. And yes, our servers are literally in a bunker way offshore.
And how do you protect people's anonymity with this kind of service? Because we learned, for example, National Security Agency,
yep,
they seem to have access to everything.
They can try. You know, that's part of not, putting your servers in the wrong place and then adhering to the right rules and regulations. But when you sign up to Ashley Madison, it doesn't matter if you're a politician, you're an athlete or an entertainer, I assure you they're on there, but we never ask them their names. We do this entirely anonymously. And so they build a user profile, put their pictures under lock and key, and only exchange it one-to-one to another member of the community.
Amanda, what kind of challenge has it been in terms of advertising? Because Noel just mentioned advertising on Sundays, for example, but you've had a lot of pushback from a variety of places. For example, the Super Bowl. They didn't want you to advertise with them.
Well, I think the challenge is that people don't want to have the conversation. They're scared that there's a message to be had that people are actually having an affairs. So it's been a challenge to get the message out there. But I think Noel and Ashley Madison have done a great job at that.
Where is the growth coming from? Is it in the United States? Is it North America? Men, women? Give us some demographics.
You know, the amazing thing is we called it Ashley Madison because we were betting on one thing, a societal change on female infidelity. That if you could look at the history of female infidelity, it was the workplace that had changed it for them, the economic freedoms, the social changes that came around, divorce no longer being kind of a punishment, you could lose your kids because you were unfaithful, any of those kinds of things. And we thought the internet would be a greater evening of the playing field. And so female infidelity is on the rise. There's a couple of recent studies about that. We had bet on that 10 years ago. That's clearly played out. And then yes, this behavior pattern, unlike traditional dating, is global. It's a phenomenon. You can succeed in Toronto, Tokyo, and Tallahassee building an affair dating service.
And you're based in Toronto.
Yes, we're a Canadian company. That's right.
What's next for the company? I mean, do you want to go public? Do you want to sell the company?
You know, it's a great question. When we first started this, we really did look at being, maybe a public company one day. I think the tide is starting to turn when the Spitzers and the Wieners of the world come back onto the stage and maybe can be forgiven for their personal decisions and what so-called indiscretions and be, reacclimated to society. That might be a trend that we see. And as that trend comes, maybe then Wall Street, Bay Street from Canada where we are, or maybe even the AIM in London would look at this business as something they want to fund.
And what about the funding right now? Is it self-funding?
This business was friends and family, believe it or not, a strange one, but actually going to a lot of close people saying, I think I'm right about this. I had some professional experience in it as a former sports attorney. I thought there was a big economy here. We invested $1 million in this thing. We returned it within the first 6 months.
The first 6 months?
6 months.
It's a business for everything.